Welcome back on to the Hubgrass. I am one of your co-hosts, Matt Arterberry. This is a bit of a pardon our pixie dust memo or message. We had some issues with our original recording. About the first 10 minutes was corrupted and we downloaded it from our recording software. So we're just giving you a quick intro on to what you'll expect to see on this video, and thanking you once again for joining us on the Hubgrass as always. This week we'll be talking about the future of FastPass, as well as a walkthrough tour of a virtual tour of one of our favorite lands, Adventureland. So we hope you enjoy this episode, and as always, we'll see you in the Hubgrass.
Yes.
But yeah, and then before, I think we're agreed pretty much on the on the Pixar musical front. But switching over to something very real, very controversial, very soon, coming very soon, probably, the FastPass controversy.
Yes.
I know you have a lot to say about this, so I'm just gonna let you fire away.
Yeah. If you've been listening to the show, you know that I've kind of referenced this and talked about this as something that I felt like that was coming. And how do I feel about this? Well, again, I've kind of been mentally preparing myself that this is going to happen. That there be some sort of paid fast pass, because it's an industry standard at this point across multiple theme parks. We see it at Disneyland with the Max Pass, and at Universal Parks, both in Orlando and in Hollywood, of their Premier Pass. So again, I've seen this coming, and I'm not that surprised. What I am surprised about is the pricing model that they've chosen to do with this. So for those of you who haven't seen this yet, basically Disneyland Paris has announced they're doing a Disney Premier Access Pass for their parks, for their parks that they have Disneyland Paris and Disney Studios Park. And the pricing they've revealed and the pricing model and how this is going to work is that depending on the time of year, it's either going to be $8 for a fast pass or a Premier Access, or €8 or €15, depending on the season. Peak season, it'll be €15 per person per ride. So that means that you will be in this Premier Access queue, similar to a fast pass queue, where basically you have to pay for the ability to skip the line. This is contrary to the previous fast pass system, where you would get 3 free if you were a resort guest, and you could book that I think 90 days out. At least that's how it was before, or 60 days out. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And you got those free with your resort stay, and then you could book any additional ones after you'd used those 3 free fast passes. And that was kind of an industry standard, at least the Disney parks, for a long time. Well, prior to that was you had to basically get there to the parks really early and get paper fast passes. This was the digital. The most recent was the digital version of fast pass, at least in Disney World. And so for me, like I said, I had a feeling this was coming. The pricing to me is not the best model that I would have, not the ideal model that I would have chosen. What are your thoughts, real quick, as I kind of formed it?
The thing is, I think, and I feel like we've discussed this before. I think a paid fast pass, I think, will assuage some major congestion problems that we presently have in the parks. However, I think for the optics right now, I think it's bad. It's very, very bad. And by that I mean, Chapek is creating a persona for himself of the one who came in and jacked up the prices, made everything super expensive, made it all about money. More so than Eisner or or Iger. Obviously, it's a business. That's always going to be a part of it. But neither of them, I feel, have done it as blatantly in their 20, 15 years of tenure as Chapek has in his 1 year of tenure. And I worry. Looking at that from an optics standpoint, it does not look good. It does not look good, and I just, again, from a business standpoint, I was on Twitter last night. I was on a lot of, different facets of the social media, and they're just going hard on, nobody is for this. Everyone looks at it as just like Disney being, just greedy and just cared about the bottom line and blah, blah, blah. That, the usual stuff. And it's just very blatant right now, and it's not a good look. So I can't imagine that he is like the golden child to the board of directors or anything like that.
No.
Because it's rough. It is. It adds up so quickly. Especially, I didn't know that it was going to be seasonally, fluctuating. And another aspect I worry about is if there's one thing that's worse than normal inflation, it's Disney inflation. So $8, you might not think as much right now, but that's gonna probably shoot up real fast. So
that is a fair point. I didn't even thought about that.
Yeah. So it's concerning. I mean, $8, I guess, isn't too much of a big deal if you want to do one FastPass, but it's a lot. There's a lot to consider there. Maybe it'll normalize some, it'll even out the lines down the road, but and we'll see that sort of evolve over time, and we'll kind of get more real lines, and who knows, but it's just I just don't see this coming off looking so good for that.
Interesting into the dollars and cents of it. So I was trying to run the numbers, and I think kind of the devil's in the details here with the numbers. So if you're looking at, basically, like I said, I'm comparing this to the Express Pass at Universal, because this is the most akin, or at least the nearest competitor, because it looks like potentially Max Pass will be going away, or at least won't be coming back, and this might be the company-wide standard, at least in the Paris and domestic parks. And so Universal has, I've talked about this before, Express Pass, which is the standard Express Pass, which is $70 a day per person, and that gives you access to the Express Pass line to any attraction all day, but you can only ride that ride once. So you could ride Confrontation or Kong Skull Island.
Well, wait a minute.
In the Express.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was just making sure I understood that right. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And then so you can ride every ride in the Express Pass queue once with the standard Express Pass. Whereas they have their Premium Express Pass, which you could basically, if you love the new Velocicoaster, and as long as the Express Pass line is open, you can basically get the Express Pass line and just basically keep jumping in that line.
Okay.
You can ride that. You can ride all rides, unlimited. There's no there's no one Express Pass use limitation on that, and that's $90 a day per person.
Oh, what was the first one again? How much was the first one?
$70. The other one is $90. So $20 more, you can ride any ride unlimited. Or if you're big,
Yeah, I mean, from
say,
that's
Incredible Hulk coaster fan, you can keep riding that. If you're a big Green Gots fan, you keep riding that unlimited with the unlimited pass.
and yeah, and you got to consider with that one, with the $70, like the base level one, you're probably only getting it for like a handful of rides. Really, like, yeah, you can get on every line, premier, like fast pass. You know, you can fast track.
Correct.
But you're only really going to care about a handful of them. Like, I'm not really gonna, you know, you're not gonna just zip through the line of just because on like some of these rides that you're not really that interested in, you know?
No, exactly. And so if you're looking at it from like, say you're like with like a family of 5 and you're using this new Premier Access Pass, per day, if it's on like a low day or like a low time, to get a fast pass for all of your family, for those family 5, for one time is $40 for one ride for that one day. And then if you get to the more expensive time, which is that 15 euro, I'm saying dollars, but it's in all in euros.
And we're assuming that the pricing is going to be similar.
Euros per ride.
And we're assuming that the pricing is going to be similar. That there's going to be some.
Well, yeah. Well, the announced prices right now have been $8 on the slow season and 15 at peak time. So for a family of 5, that's 75 euros for one ride on a very or a very busy day, like a holiday weekend or something. And so I looked at that. Look at that numbering system and pricing system, and looked at compared to Express Pass. And so, let's say it's $8 for low time. If you were to compare that to the Express Pass, you'd be looking at basically, it would be if you were like looking at it and say, I'm going to pay $70 per person per day to use the new Premier Pass, and so you'd be looking at eight and three quarters rides, so almost 9 rides. If you're looking at if you wanted to buy the Express Pass at Universal, and you compare it to the $8 per ride, you'd be getting around 9 rides. Compared to this new pricing system, or at peak time, you'll only be getting 4 rides. When you look at the €15 per ride metric, compared to the unlimited pass at Universal, at slow times you'd be looking at around 11 rides, and then peak time is 6 rides. So if you think about it that way, it's like how many times are you going to jump in the Express Pass line, or need to, basically. 11 rides is a lot to Express Pass, and also 9 are a lot. Where it gets dicey for me is when they bump it up to 15. That's where the value really drops, or the opportunity cost really drops, because you're looking at 4 and 6 rides per day, which again maybe is normal, which is actually more than you were getting before, with 3 guaranteed.
Yeah, but again, those are
obviously you're paying for it now. Yeah,
so it's like I don't know. I just it's
I'm not super happy about it, but and it essentially doubles the price of your trip.
Yeah, it really does.
At least doubles the price of your park day.
Oh, goody. But see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Like, at every turn, this is sort of the situation that we keep running into with the newer, I know we're a year into it now, but the new CEO. Like, this is just his MO.
Yeah, and
starting to, like, really...
And, yeah.
We knew this was happening. I guess it's whatever, and frankly, I hope that it actually leads to some positive reactions with the wait times in the park. But still, again, I just trace it back to the optics and how it long term is going to make the company look.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and for me, it's like looking at. So I've been like watching not FaceTime. I'm watching wait times like a hawk recently, just kind of get an idea of what we're walking into here. And the wait times haven't been horrendous. And this is now at the point where like we're getting closer to normal capacity, and I have not seen any ride over 65 minutes. And that's 65 minutes has been like Splash Mountain and Flight of Passage, because right now those are like the two. Flight of Passage always has a long line, and Splash Mountain people are flocking there because they're not sure when their last ride's going to be. But and that was even like with 4th of July weekend.
Yeah,
like I was looking at the wait times and they weren't that bad. And I've recalled looking at those wait times during holiday weekends to kind of see where they're at. Like it's almost comical to see how hot they get. And I haven't seen that. And the parks have, from what I know, have been pretty busy.
Oh yeah,
full.
Oh yeah.
So that's just telling me that FastPass is a detriment to the standby queue, which has always been kind of at least been the recent theory is that that's a real detriment to the standby queue. And for me, like if FastPass doesn't come back in its normal form, maybe that's a good thing for standby. Like
exactly.
If I'd rather be in a standby queue for an hour versus 180 minutes that it can jump up to during normal operations, or at least pre-COVID operations. So maybe this is not a bad thing. And it really, it's like one of the things where like if you want to pay extra money, you can. And if that's how you prioritize your day, that you want to just not wait in lines, that is your prerogative. And it's potentially not going to hurt the normal day guest, because as long as like because I doubt we'll get the same amount of FastPass volume that we had before with this new
yeah, that's true. I would be shocked.
Yeah, and you basically, and I think it only affect those big e-ticket attractions. Like, I don't think many people use it for Smuggler's Run, but some people would. I'm sure Flight of Passage will get a lot of Premier Access activity. Mine Train will get a lot of Premier Access activity. So that's just that's my thought on it right now.
And I guess
that's my.
I guess we'll just sort of have to wait and see in the weeks.
No, it's going. Yeah, it's gonna be a big. Well, it'll be big once they announce it in the domestic parks. It's gonna be interesting to see how it rolls out in Paris.
Yeah, and who knows when it's gonna kick in here? They might give it like a year trial run or 6-month trial run or we're just so antsy they'll do it tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, like I said, it doesn't seem like they're too keen on, or at least like chomping at the bit to bring back FastPass to the domestic parks, because it seems like operations are pretty good at the moment.
Absolutely. All right. Well, enough of that.
But it is a cash cow for them. Yeah.
Enough of that unpleasantness, though. Let's take a leisurely stroll. Let's take a leisurely stroll through a land, one of, if not my favorite land, today. We just figured we'd do something a little bit more relaxed, and perhaps surface level. And by that I mean something very. We're not getting too deep into things, because we're going to be talking about some attractions, but these are definitely attractions that I feel in the month and weeks to come deserve their own episode to go, very, very, give a real deep dive. But we are going to be taking a stroll through Adventureland. Now, is this your favorite land, Matt?
I would say for the most part, it is. I think it's the most complete land, in my opinion, insofar as it has pretty much everything you'd want in a land. It has really high quality attractions, pretty good shopping, some iconic snacks, and even a decent walkthrough attraction. It has dark rides. It has walkthroughs. I think the only thing it's really missing is a kind of a thrill ride or a faster paced attraction,
Yeah.
which I don't say is like a requirement to have a great land, but I say it's one of the most well-rounded lands, and one of the most well-themed and immersive lands in the park itself.
Yeah, I would say that I think I think both this land in Florida and in California both benefit from their the where they are geographically. Just because, you have those tropical plants that are able to, the tropical wildlife that's able to flourish there. And yeah, I think it might be my favorite land, just because I love the style of it. I love how much I don't know how much is jammed in there, and I didn't really realize it until I was making this list of different spots last night, and it's just wow, they really jam pack a lot in there. They waste a lot of the space, but they fit it all in. It's interesting because it's so. I feel like each Adventureland is so different from the next. I feel like this personally. I know I'm going to get the Californian fans on me, but I think that this Adventureland is a step up from Disneyland's Adventureland. And then I think, again, just looking at castle parks, I think that Paris is a huge. I think Paris might be the best, personally. And, I say that with obviously the benefit of having, been able to explore some of it myself. But, but yeah, every Adventureland is just so, it's just so dense. And,
very true.
And yeah, I just what we wanted to do is just kind of again take a quick stroll through it at a fair pace. Just talk about some of the local haunts, some of the attractions, some of the things, some memories, anecdotes, whatever, really. And we wanted to start right at the sign for Adventureland. And just passing on through. I know right at the gate, like right over the bridge leading into Adventureland is the door for our for our Club 33 in our Magic Kingdom. That's pretty cool. I saw one person walking in there one time, like actually, putting the code in and walking through the door.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Somebody important.
Sneak in.
I was like, who was it? I didn't see their face, but jeez. But yeah, I know that went in just only a couple of years ago. But that's I think it's really cool that they have different Club 33s at the different parks. I know absolutely nothing about it. Maybe we'll have an episode where we kind of delve into the mysteries of Club 33, but yeah.
Speaking of Club 33, it's funny because actually one of my colleagues, panelists on the WWNT Pressing Issues podcast, I'm not going to out her, but she's a Club 33 member.
Oh, wow.
And she's giving me some insights a little bit on the process of becoming a member is actually more strenuous. Not necessarily strenuous, but it's very like evasive and much harder process than you might think. It's not just like you have the money to become a member. It's more like you have to go through like interview process, and they have to like vet you and all that before you get accepted into the club. It's not simply like a financial like obligation kind of club. It's like, what is your relationship with Disney? Like, are you fit to be in the club? Because it is a club. So like, are you Disney enough to be a part of the club and things like that? So I thought that was very interesting, because I assumed it was like, as long as you have like the $50,000 or whatever it is to get in the club, you can be a part of the show. But she fortunately was a former CM, and actually was Mary Poppins for a little while she was a CM, which is really cool. So she's very Disney, very part of the parks. So she had no problem getting in, but she still had to go through that process, like going down to the offices there in Orlando and like interviewing and all that, which was fascinating.
Yeah. I think if I ever, I don't know, I would like, sort of in that daydream sense, if I ever got to like, I don't know, act in a, or like do something like for a Disney film, like I would say, hey, look, I'll take a pay cut if I could get a membership or something like that. Like, listen, like if we could work something out here. Like, cause I can imagine like a lot of people, and like people who do Disney, like Robert Downey Jr. I would not be surprised if he had a membership to Club 33, or at least like the Disneyland one, or something like that. Oh, because I know a lot of people who do Disney projects.
Yeah, it's probably with the contract.
Oh yeah. Like Tom Hanks. I feel like I heard Tom Hanks is a member, like he is a member or something like that, or stuff like that.
If not an honorary member, it's like just like show up.
Oh yeah. But yeah, moving forward down the road to something we all can enjoy, something that is of the people, by the people, for the people. The Sunshine Tree Terrace, famous for being one of two locations in Adventureland where you can get a Dole Whip. And honestly, I feel like this one's gotten a lot more popular in recent years.
But the only place to get Citrus Swirl.
Yes, that is the difference. Mm-hmm. They just added this cute little painting to the side of the wall there this past spring, where it's got little orange bird flying there. I actually have a picture of that on my personal Instagram. It's very cute. It's just a stand where you can get your Dole Whip and Citrus Swirl, and see, I got it that time. And do you frequent this stand often? Do you go down to Aloha Isle more?
Yeah, so I typically stop at Sunshine Tree Terrace more often than I do Aloha Isle. Like, my wife and I, our preferred like icy snack is the Citrus Swirl compared to Dole Whip. That might be a hot take, but we like it a little bit better. Just like, it's just so refreshing and so nostalgic, especially like if you've ever had dreamsicles growing up. It's very much like that, but on steroids, in my opinion. And they've always got really great options, like some of the themed Dole Whips are there. I know that the Red's Revenge was there when they were serving that. But I try while I'm there. I try to have a Dole Whip and a Citrus Swirl on my trips. But if I were to choose one, it'd be Citrus Swirl personally.
Okay, all right, nice. No, I feel like last time I was down there in March, it The line there was like especially long, and then it was very short at Aloha Isle. I'm personally more of pineapple Dole Whip. It's just a matter of preference. I don't think it's gonna put you into a different class in the dystopian future we're gonna be in soon.
Sure.
but yeah, I know some people are kind of ride or die with the type of Dole Whip they get. Of course, next we moving down a little further. There's a little bit of a newer addition to Adventureland, the Skipper Canteen. Have you been there yet?
So on this trip is my first time actually in Skipper Canteen.
Oh, wonderful!
I'm very excited. When we've gone in the past, we either haven't really eaten a reservation or it just hasn't worked out for us to go. But this is our first time going. We're going for lunch on our second Magic Kingdom day, and I'm very excited, especially as a fan of sea and with a love for Jungle Cruise. I'm beyond excited to be able to explore that restaurant, but also to sample the eats that they have in that restaurant.
Yeah. Now, you're going with your whole family, or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. There'll be 12 of us.
Okay. Yeah. Just make sure you excuse yourself to go to the bathroom. Just take a couple minutes and explore. It is a fantastic place. I got to go there on my honeymoon.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was probably one of the best. It is probably one of the best meals I've had in my life, and I don't mean that for the food. The food was good. But it was the craziest thing. So yeah, it was on my honeymoon, and I just so happened to bump into, we were in line for Pirates of the Caribbean, and all of a sudden I look and I see my one, or I thought I saw my friend, his name's Pat Minetti, and his wife Jen, and I'm standing, and I just stopped dead in the queue, and I'm like, Minetti? And my wife is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, Minetti! And she's like, stop, what are you doing? Stop yelling for them. And thought I was making a scene or something, and all of a sudden he turns around and goes, hi! So, and they are probably the nicest people I know. So we hung out for a little while the rest of that day, but then we came back and we all had dinner at Skipper Canteen, and we just
nice.
It was just such a fantastic and wonderful time. We sat there and talked for so long that the cast member, or the waitress, gave us fast passes so we would leave. So
wow.
And there were fast passes for wherever we wanted. So no, don't be us. But it was so much fun, because then we just went right over to Space Mountain, and we all rode that together, and it
nice.
It was just the coolest thing. And then we went and saw, and I know this is getting more into like the fun story, but they were there on their anniversary trip. And then, we were there on our honeymoon. So we were all wearing those happily ever after buttons. So
nice.
Hold on. So we ironically go watch afterwards, happily ever after, because that's like right when it had come out, and it was it was going to be like our first time seeing it. And so I'm walking with Pat, and we're kind of trying to work our way through the crowd, and my wife Brennan and his wife Jenna, they're like trailing behind us, and this cast member sees them walking through the crowd close together, and they're both wearing the happily ever after. And so he says, "Oh, congratulations, you two!" And Fred's like, "No, that's my husband up there." It's the funniest thing. But yeah, we sat and we hung out in the Skipper Canteen for at least 2, probably 3, upwards of 3 hours, just sitting at our table talking and stuff. There's this in the like the lobby area. There's this door that leads to this outside porch, and my wife and I sat out there for a while because the Minettis were actually coming from Hollywood Studios, so they were running a little bit behind. But we just got to hang out on that porch, and oh my gosh, it was just so pleasant watching the crowds walk by, and
that's cool.
Just it's the older I get, the more I see the benefit of being able to just stop on a trip and breathe and just enjoy, look around for a minute, and it's a wonderful place to do that. So you're in for a treat. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm very excited.
I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
what do we come up next? Come up to next after Skipper Canteen, as we roll through.
As you leave the Skipper Canteen, you're going to find yourself looking at a very large tree.
Oh boy!
Where we find this Swiss family treehouse, which for me, it's one of those attractions where like I'll walk up there if I have time, but it's you might have a different thought on it, but it's kind of it's not a weak point for me in the land, but it's not like a high point.
Yeah.
On my trip, and I would say I've only gone up there maybe once or twice. It's not like an every trip stop for me by any means.
Yeah, no. It's a complete waste of space. I know why it's still there. It's very, 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 very low maintenance. Low.
For sure.
Yeah, it's just. I despise it. It's no, I like. It's just so useless, and it could be used for so much more, And they just don't do anything because again, it's low commitment, low energy usage, So, I can see why, but I know it does carry a large footprint. So I would hope that someday they'd be willing to clear that out and put something of interest, of value into that.
Yeah. I would love that to be ripped out and changed into the queue for Fire Mountain.
Well, which I think, I might be wrong, but I think that was the idea before. So
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, so and Fire Mountain would have been an incredible addition to Adventureland, and of course you would have loved it because it was Atlantis themed. But I still think even if they made it just sea based, Society of Explorers and Adventurers, it could still be great because there's no way that they would make an Atlantis based attraction now. If they if they didn't even back then, they definitely wouldn't now. But yeah, I would still love to see that kind of attraction get added into the land. But then of course we start coming towards, I guess, sort of the center of the land, which is that big courtyard where you've got Zanzibar Trading Company, Agrabah Bazaar, which I feel like they're so close in proximity, they're pretty much the same shop.
Basically.
I just kind of mashed them together in my mind. And yeah, you get a lot of fun stuff. I know Agrabah Bazaar is closed right now, I think. And it's just a bunch of fun souvenir shops. I appreciate them. I like them, but it's
Yeah.
not like my number one.
No.
Store that I go to in it's not even the number one place I go. Like it's not my number one shop in Adventureland even. So we'll get there eventually.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, and then of course across from that is Aloha Isle, which is sort of
Yes.
it's when you get a little bit more into that Polynesian vibe. It's a lot less, or again, you got that Arabian vibe with the it's interesting in like the architecture, I think is what I'm trying to say. Is like you kind of start with almost like a Caribbean vibe within regards to like you got a lot of like the wood, the multi-layered buildings, and you got some of those bright colors, and then you go to the more like stone, Middle Eastern kind of architecture when you get to that center point, and then you have a bit more of that tribal Tiki vibe for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, do you ever go to Aloha Isle?
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely hop over there. I love the one thing I love about Aloha Isle, and I wish that Sunshine Tree Terrace would also do, is they have like really nice themed like bowls for the Dole Whip, which I think is really, it brings it that tiki vibe. It's kind of akin to a tiki bar when they offer that, or you can choose to buy that souvenir cup. I wish that Sunshine Tree Terrace did something similar. But yeah, I love Aloha Isle at the end of the day, and I really like the pineapple upside down cake with a Dole Whip on top. That is if you're looking for a big sugar rush, that is a great option. It is very delicious. But yeah, I love Aloha Isle, and sometimes I'll grab a Dole Whip and then hop over to the Tiki Room. I know we'll talk about Tiki Room a little bit later, but yeah, I think that's just kind of a quintessential Adventureland experience is the Dole Whip and then Tiki Room.
Yeah. Well, of course, we want to continue on our journey through Adventureland, but we do need to take a quick pit stop really quick. I know for the past couple episodes we have been a little lacking on the artist and vendor spotlight, so I did want to take a quick brief interlude just to mention our vendor spotlight for this week is very special, very, very different. If you are at all on the Diz Twitter scene, and you're familiar with a lot of the popular Disney Twitter accounts, I'm sure you're familiar with this creator, the Delete Disney, which you may know by the fun logo that they use, which is a goofy golf ball that was famously used in a Disney parade several years ago. I see a lot of people referencing this account all the time. They're very funny. They do a lot of jokes and memes and things. I follow them very closely, but we did want to give a shout out to them. If you aren't aware, they do a lot of awesome T-shirts on TeePublic. So if you are interested in some fun Disney wares that are a little meta, a little goofy, and sort of out of the norm, a little more tongue in cheek, I would definitely check them out. You can find them at teepublic.com/stores/the-delete-catalog. We're going to be posting a link to their page so that you can go check them out. Also, if you go check them out on Twitter, I'm pretty sure in their description they have a link over to their shop as well. Probably, I know we typically go for like a lot of more artsy in-universe kind of stuff. This is definitely different. It's not. These are probably this is probably one of the funniest shops, I guess you'd say, that you could find.
Sure.
That you could find. So I would definitely check them out, even just for a chuckle. And go follow them on Twitter if you're on there and just want some fun Disney content. They are a great page to go check out. And they also do these fun packs every once in a while. I am trying to get my hands on one of them because they go like hotcakes. And they're just incredibly fun little packs. But just have a bunch of fun jokes in there and like little stickers and even like a coloring book thing. They had one I saw where it's like a joke about Buzzy, and it's like a sticker and you gotta find Buzzy, and it's very funny. It's very funny. So definitely go check it out. But yeah, also while we did have your attention, as you may know, this is episode 9. This is episode 9, correct?
Correct.
All right, here we are, episode 9. This means that in our next episode, we will be selecting a winner of our giveaway. So Matt's going to Florida, tomorrow to go get those extra surprises for our giveaway box for the Magic Kingdom box. So if you haven't entered, go to the original post on our Instagram page and check that out. I know we were still having, as of the last time I checked, we were still having some difficulties with the last portion of that, which was posting a review on iTunes. We politely request that you still try it. Just give it a try. And then I think that's going to be a last-second decision we're going to make on whether or not we're going to include that, just to see what the results of that are. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Like Mason said, keep trying to leave reviews. And I think wherever you might land on it might just be an extra entry if you are able to accomplish that. But it won't be a barrier to entry.
Yeah. We've had a great turnout with that. We've had a lot of people enter. So we definitely don't want you, listener, to be left out if you haven't entered yet. And if you have, thank you for giving us that time and attention. But again, we will be drawing that next episode. Next episode is going to be a lot of fun. We will be having a guest on here. So we're looking forward to that. But anyway, why don't we hop back on into Adventureland? Because at this point, once we get to Aloha Isle, we reach a lot of attractions. We're sort of at the heart
very much
of the land. To quote, I think, Treasure Planet, we are at the centroid of the mechanism, and which is a weird line to reference. That's weird, Mason. We got Dumbo. I mean, the Magic Carpets of Aladdin.
Yeah.
I hate this ride. I hate that it's there.
No, it's dumb. It's dumb.
It's
an eyesore. It's in the middle of the land. It's just kind of in the way. I get why it's I get, but I also get why it's there, because they wanted to find a way to slip in a Aladdin attraction in that land, but it's not necessary.
An Aladdin attraction, I feel, is necessary, but not that Aladdin attraction.
No, I agree.
It makes me so mad because it is such a fantastic film, and you can do so much with it.
It's a cop-out.
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. So that's very disappointing. But I will say the fun thing is those camels. Those camels have quite a history.
Yeah, I'd say the camels are a great addition to the land, and I wish it was like those camels were used like at the entrance to an actual ride versus just these spinner.
Yeah. So for those listeners who aren't remembering or aren't fully familiar with Adventureland, at the sign for the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, there are 2 camels situated on either side. Either side, right? Yeah?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
And their heads swivel and pivot around. And every once in a while, one of the camels will spit water or squirt water onto an unsuspecting or suspecting guest. And these camels actually have a very long history that goes beyond the origins of that, or beyond that ride. They were actually in the original parade for Aladdin when it came out. Actually, if you watch I'm pretty sure if you watch the episode, the Disney trip episode of Full House, you can actually see them. You can spot them in the parade as it's going by, because I know Michelle gets pulled up and becomes like princess for the day or whatever. And but you can actually see them there, which is long before the ride opened. So it's cool that they were able to reuse them, for an actual attraction. I think that's cool, personally.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that there's so many like water misting elements to Adventureland, because we have the camels, but also the leaky tikis over by Jungle Cruise, which is where we kind of end up next.
Yeah. I love the tikis. The leaky tikis are iconic to me.
Same here.
I feel like I have pins of them. They did like a cast member pin line of those several years ago. Yeah, and you could collect them all. I never did, but I never got around to it. But
sure.
Yeah. Then you're absolutely right. We do end up at Jungle Cruise, which is 100% getting its own episode soon. The whole reason for this episode is sort of preemptively getting set up for some episodes later this month. It's going to be a very sea-centric, Jungle Cruise-centric month with the new film coming out. And just so much going on. We have a Epcot related episode next week, but from there for a little time we're going to be doing some more adventurous stuff, and we kind of wanted to start that hype with this episode. Because
I feel like Adventureland is so invokes summer in my mind. Because we have Jungle Cruise, and that's just like the whole land itself is so tropical, so warm and inviting. It just makes you think of summer, and even like the snacks that there are in the land, like the Dole Whip and Citrus Swirl are such like summery, refreshing items. I think Jungle Cruise is an icon. And I don't want to talk too much about the attractions that, like you said, that we will get their own episodes. I don't know if we'll do a whole Tiki Room episode, but for sure Pirates and Jungle Cruise. But both those rides are so iconic and are kind of part of the integral DNA to Magic Kingdom itself, not just Adventureland. When you associate, or when you think about rides in Magic Kingdom, you think about those two rides. Hence why they kind of shoehorned Pirates into Disney World, because it originally wasn't planned for Disney World, but they're like, guests were like, "Where is Pirates? We want Pirates," and so that's what was kind of shoehorned in, and why it's really, for me, why it's so. The reason why I love Pirates, but I wish it was longer. I think that's why it's seen as one of the lower versions of Pirates of the Caribbean, because it's runtime and things it's missing.
Well, we'll get there.
Yes.
But I definitely think we're gonna save a little bit here for Jungle Cruise. It's an incredibly important attraction. It's a bit of it's Walt Disney's love of nature. It's some of the classic Imagineering, some of those old jokes, and originally, again, he wanted Walt wanted it to be live animals and, to
Yeah.
be connected to the true life adventure films
Sure.
that he was doing. So it was going to be True Life Adventureland, um, which is fun which is interesting because it was like, oh wow, it's a land based on an IP. Almost, we almost had a land based on an IP right out the gate. But we didn't, they knew better. I wonder what that says.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it is classic. I think once a lot of the new modifications get finalized, I think we're gonna take a nice deep dive on Jungle Cruise.
Oh yes.
But moving up from Jungle Cruise, also really quick. I apologize. Really quick, while we are on Jungle Cruise, one of the worst queues in the park. Hot take.
You're not entirely wrong.
And not from a theming standpoint. It's just like
Okay.
dead air. You feel so like claustrophobic in the line, and I don't know why that is, because it is a relatively open space, but it just feels like the air is just dead in there, and you sweat.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of invoking I've told this before. So, on our honeymoon, my first honeymoon, we went to St. Lucia, which is in the Caribbean, and it makes me think about like some of the things we saw in the Caribbean, of like very simple shacks, and it's very makeshift. Like I said, like you said, the theming is on point. I think it's
that's fine. I don't have an issue.
It's very well themed, but yeah, it is. It's not the most comfortable queue to be in, because there's no AC. You're out in the elements, so everything that's happening outside you're experiencing in the queue. But yeah, I it's definitely not my favorite queue. It's really a small queue as well, because if it gets busy, you can end up being out in the main thoroughfare of Adventureland as well.
It was when we were down there. It was quite long.
Yeah,
but that's just something really quick I wanted to mention about the ride.
No, that's a good point.
And we will stare off at the waters and watch the boats toddle off into waters unknown. While as we do so, we'll turn around and take a look at the Tiki room. And fantastic show. I love them both, but I prefer this to Country Bear Jamboree.
As do I, for sure.
It's just so relaxing, and which is weird like in reality, you're just sitting in a room with a bunch of squawking birds. It shouldn't be relaxing, but it is. No,
it's beautiful. It's very simple animatronics. The music is as iconic, if not more iconic, than the actual animatronics.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an earworm that you enjoy, in my opinion. I think it's quintessential Disney, because it was really like one of the proto animatronics. It was one of the first animatronics they worked on, at least in the Disneyland version. So I absolutely love it.
I will always want to do that. I didn't when I was the day I got engaged to my wife was insane, and because the original place where I was supposed to propose to her was I didn't realize was going to be blocked off to remove the Christmas decorations, and it was early January, so I should have thought about that. But
sure.
I wanted to do it by the wishing well over, on that side walkway.
Yeah.
And that was a no-go. And it wouldn't have been a problem if I didn't have other friends that were at the park, just so happened to be at the park, who were going to film it for
Sure.
me. So I had to be adjusting plans with them, without taking too much time from their vacation.
Yeah.
While also not trying to get too stressed and make it show on my face for my wife. So there was a time where she's like, "Do you?" And I was so worried about time that day. Like she was like, "Do you want to do this?" I'm like, "No, because I'm worried it's going to take too long." And so we got to the point where we're at Tiki Room or go outside of Tiki Room, and I was worried about it like overlapping the wrong time and stuff. And she's like, "Do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Okay." And by this point, she's had it, and rightfully so. And she's like, "All right, well, I'm going on to Tiki Room, and you can do whatever you want." And I'm like, "No, I'll come." And and she's like, "All right, do you want to get a Dole Whip first?" And I realized like the doors are opening now, so it's like we either go now or we're not going, or like it's gonna throw everything off. So I was like, "No, I don't want to. I don't want a Dole Whip. I wanted a Dole Whip so bad." But so we just like rushed in, and she had it with me by that point, and she just obviously it all made sense, afterwards. But I did not handle it well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a classic, and I didn't have a chance to get it. Was it even open? I'm not even sure it was open when I was down there last. But yeah, I try not to miss it on any trip.
Mm-hmm.
But right around the corner from the Tiki Room is something kind of weird, kind of a little outdated, maybe, but to some, maybe not outdated at all to others. Jack Sparrow's Pirate Tutorial. Now, have you ever seen this tutorial show in action?
I don't believe so, because I saw this on our list and I was like, I don't know what this is, because I originally thought it was, and maybe we could kind of combine the two. Is the pirate? I knew about the pirate adventure, and that's what I thought it was originally when you put that down on the list.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's like its own show thing,
Yeah, it's his like little stage show, right? Because I've only ever seen him just like up there like taking photos, and like interacting with guests.
Yeah.
But I have never seen the actual tutorial.
I think I caught it one time, maybe, on my senior trip. And so that was like 2012. But yeah, I don't know if he fully still does the show or they just use it as a meet and greet space. I
think that's what it is now.
I wish they would integrate Red, as the character into it, because I know they use her in Disneyland. I wish that she would be made more like they would normalize bringing her into the
and that might be the case, especially with this new potential Pirates reboot, where it's talked about that she might be the main.
I want that so bad. I do.
I get it. And so she might replace Jack in the kind of meet and greet. I don't know. It depends on how they're going to keep handling Jack Sparrow going forward. I hope he's in the parks and still is involved, but who knows with the times if they're going to keep him involved. Jack Sparrow's my favorite pirate, and I love that he's in the attraction itself, and I hope that he's still available in that. And I hope maybe if they do bring Red in, that they kind of do it together, or they rotate times. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see Red out there too.
My thing is, and I mean this mostly just with the films. I don't want another Jack Sparrow film. I do not want another Jack Sparrow film.
No, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, and I think this is something that was forgotten over time, was the film and the attraction itself is called Pirates of the Caribbean and not Pirate of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And it just got too focused on just him. And you could do so much more. You could even do like an anthology series with, a bunch of different characters. But anyway, yeah, I've never caught the show. I don't think, it's for kids. So, it's not really
and
for
so,
me.
So have you ever done the pirate adventure then?
That I did some of. That was wow, my whole thing just moved. Yes, I've done some of that. That's fun. It's fun. Again, I think that was on my senior trip in 2012.
Okay.
The one of my friends that I was with was very much about that and playing Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom.
Oh, sure.
The cards were cool. And I went through like the thing at the fire station to get them for him. But I just like, why are we playing Pokemon in Disney? I have no, like, why are we doing this? But
sure.
The effects were cool for the Pirates Adventure thing. They integrated it really well. And all the stuff is still there. So I'm pretty sure they still do it. It's just they're not doing it right now with COVID.
Yeah. It's a free FastPass.
Yes, it is.
Complete it.
And that and the paintbrush game on Tom Sawyer Island, if they still did that, which I don't think they do. I did that. I played that, and I found it. Like I swiped it out, like just out of someone else's hand. I didn't yank it out of their hand. Like it was they were reaching for it, and I was reaching for it at the same time. And yeah, that was fun. I think I still have the paper certificate or whatever that they gave. Nice. I have that somewhere.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean it's fun. You get to see some really cool things and explore Adventureland a bit. At least at the Caribbean corner. And then yeah. Other than that, I know the Tortuga Tavern's down there, but that's rarely open.
Yeah, and yeah, I've never really seen it open. The only time I've been in Tortuga Tavern was when I was there for the Villains After Hours event.
Oh.
And they had I think the Hades nachos in there, and I went and got those.
Yeah.
But Tortuga Tavern, I basically walk out of Pirates and go do something else. I never pop over there.
Well,
I'll stop in the gift shop, but I hardly ever.
Well, the thing of
spend
it,
much time in that area outside of the gift shop and the ride.
Yeah. The thing of it for me was, and this was like me as a kid being maybe thinking about it either too much or being stupid. I thought it was just another name for Picos Bills, because I know it shares the same building, so I thought it was just a themed side of Picos Bills. Like, it's the same place, it's the same food.
Yeah, it's
just gonna be, that side is themed differently, but you're still going up to the same counter. Because I've never even been in there, so, and I know it wasn't always Tortuga Tavern; it was named something else originally.
For as long as I've known it,
so
I've just been aware of it.
But they, tried to make it align with the films. So I think they did that in 2011, 2013 or something. And then you have my favorite location, my favorite shop in Adventureland, maybe my favorite shop in the park, aside from Memento Mori, is Plaza de Sol Caribe Bazaar, which I guess is Plaza of the Caribbean Sun.
Yeah.
Bazaar.
Yeah. I love it too. Definitely the best shop in all of the land.
Yeah. You just always get some fun, the merch is cool, the vibe is cool. I don't know what is what it is about it, but I just love hanging out there. I look forward to it, getting off the ride. Like, I'm like, ooh, yay, we get to go there. Because the ride, that area of the park is such a maze to me because I don't understand, like, where everything links up. And I'm like as a kid, I didn't understand, the geography of it.
Sure.
So, but yeah,
because it's basically the ride shop for both Pirates and Jungle Cruise. So, as a fan of both those attractions, it's like the mecca for getting, or just looking at different pieces of merch. If you want to get some pirate garb, you can hop in there. If you want to look at some Jungle Cruise related merchandise, and for a while they had Coco merchandise in there too. Which I thought was interesting.
Yes, they did. Well, because you still have some of that, that Gulf influence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's changed a good bit over the years. There was like the movie-fication of it for a bit, where they involved a lot of that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I remember I got a pirate hat there.
Nice.
Like my first trip down, I'm pretty sure it was my first trip down, and like it had Captain Hook, a Captain Hook sticker on it. And
oh, sure.
My name was embroidered on it, and that was my first Disney hat. I didn't get the mouse ears. I got the pirate hat.
Oh,
and
nice.
I loved it.
Yeah, a funny story actually. So, my son loves pirates, and not Pirates of the Caribbean. He hasn't seen it yet, but he loves pirates in general.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to we're recording the show shortly after 4th of July, and we went to a pretty big fireworks show. But beforehand was a symphony event here in Indianapolis.
Oh.
And part of the event, they had Revolutionary War reenactors walk around during, like, they did like a whole medley of John Williams the Patriot and things like that.
Oh, so, wonderful!
People, yeah, beautiful. It was like a 2-hour-long symphony showcase of all these old patriotic songs, and like I said, they had Revolutionary War reenactors walk around, and some Civil War ones as well. And there was one that walked by our area because we had our picnic stuff laid out with some towel or some blankets, and our kids were sitting there watching. And my son goes, "Oh, a pirate!" He had the tricorn hat and his saber on his.
Oh yeah, no, I get it.
And so he's like, "It's a pirate!" He was so excited. And I was like, "Son, it's actually a soldier." He's like, "No, it's a pirate." And we've already prepped him that he's going to get his own like one of the foam swords in that gift shop. So we're already looking forward to stopping by that shop after we get off Pirates. Or something.
Fantastic!
Because I'm a big fan of pirates in general. I've always been a big fan of not only the franchise but just like the pirate life in general. It's always been kind of fun, and as a kid. And so I'm glad that movie came out when it did. It kind of captured my imagination. But it's fun that my son is also enjoys that aesthetic.
Yeah.
As you would say. So looking forward to that. Getting him his own little sword, and we might get him a little hat too while we're down there. But but I love that shop for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know the old saying, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. If it wears a hat like a pirate and carries a sword like a pirate, it's a pirate. I get it. It reminds me of, this is completely unrelated, but it reminds me of there was this church in the town I grew up in, and every year they had this huge nativity event for Christmas.
Oh, sure.
And it was beautiful. Or at least I thought it was beautiful. It was amazing. And it it told the whole gospel story, and they built like the town, like they had this town of Bethlehem that they built in this field behind the church, like towers and like little shops and everything. It was crazy. They had like centurions. point is, the first scene starts inside the church, and it's the Garden of Eden scene, and it's supposed to represent the fall of man. And there's there's this guy who walks in this serpent costume to represent Satan, and has this long trailing tail behind him, because he's supposed to be this serpent, and comes walking in, and there's this little girl sitting behind us in the theater where it's happening, and the girl goes, "Oh, it's a mermaid!" It was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen, and just you recounting the story, he's a pirate. It just made me think. Oh, but anyway, jumping back to Adventureland, that just about covers everything. It looks like we're on our way to Frontierland after that point, because we're the marimba and the drums begin to fade, and the guitar starts to pick up, and and we find ourselves staring at a big thundering mountain.
Yes.
So,
well, Splash Mountain, really.
Well, yeah. You're absolutely right. But with that in mind, I do think it is time to get going. Folks, we really have sure enjoyed this time with you. If you want more Hubgrass in your life, you can find us separately at Unofficial Disney CEO on TikTok for me, and then at Matt Arterberry and Matt and Mary Kate on YouTube for Matt. Or if you just want to find us, you can find us on our Instagram at the Hubgrass Pod. I'm gonna get this one day. Where we do post new content regularly on our story and in our feed. If you do like what we do and want to help us make our show better, please consider joining our Patreon. We just kind of retrofitted it, and again, we're still learning a lot with it. So check it out and give us a hand if you want. But until next time, remember, there's a great, big, beautiful podcast just a stream away. We'll see you on the Hubgrass, folks.